game. It's the review you've all been waiting for as we check out one of the most anticipated console shooters with Halo 4. It's freebies galore as we discover the top online offerings. And it's a farewell party as we say goodbye to one of the most awesome consoles in history. It's all right here, right now on Game. Oh, hey, boys and girls of the Galactic Gaming Empire. Welcome to the one show in this universe which schools you on the delights of the digital realm. My name's Kelly, and for the next half an hour, don't even think about moving a muscle. Now, what did I just say? Sit back down. There is plenty to come on today's show with some highly anticipated titles featuring rather prominently. But before we get to that, it's time for us to take a look at the headlines, where we see that hard work and effort really does pay off. On this week's Gaming Grapevine, galaxies, even the ones far, far away, are all shook up with the news that George Lucas has become an official member of the Mickey Mouse Club. Yep, the Walt Disney Company have announced the purchase of Lucasfilm and all its subsidiary companies in a deal worth over $4 billion. George Lucas has cited retirement as one of the main reasons for the sale of the company, the one responsible for bringing Star Wars to millions of fans the world over. Now, Star Wars fans may be interested to know that the new parent company, Disney, plans to release Episode 7 of the space opera, due to hit theaters in 2015, followed by Episodes 8 and 9. Yikes, that's a lot to digest.
This is madness.
But if you're keen on a little lightsaber action before that, you can still check out the upcoming video game Star Wars 1313, which, if you've seen the trailers, looks pretty damn good. So thank you, George Lucas. May the Force be with you. Moving on, good news for fans of mechanized warfare as Project Hawken gets some much-deserved funding. Originally released as an independent online-only offering built by a small team of extremely talented designers, Hawken managed to attract the attention of hundreds of thousands of gamers, all lured in by the prospect of some mecha multiplayer fun. And with all the buzz, it was only a matter of time before the title was picked up. Now, the developers, Adhesive Games, have recently signed on with publishers Meteor Entertainment, and after 2 rounds of funding, the project has managed to raise a cool $28 million to see the game through to its release. Not exactly chump change, hey? And with that vote of confidence, we're looking forward to great things when the full game hits us in December. From a game trying to make a name to a game which needs no introduction, time for some Grand Theft Auto or GTA. Gamers the world over have been on the edge of their seats in anticipation ever since the debut trailer for GTA 5 was released late last year. Well, the good news is that the wait is almost over after teasing us with screenshots showing off the new Los Santos. The world's most infamous gangland simulator finally has a release date. Rockstar, the Scottish-based studio, has the game scheduled for a spring 2013 release and have thrown in this enticing picture to celebrate the announcement. Spring's a beautiful time. More bad boy action coming your way with GTA 5. I bet you're excited. Well, let's not dampen that feeling, shall we? It's time for us to check in on Frags, who once again gets all the cushy jobs. This week, he got his hands on the most highly anticipated and heavily promoted game of 2012. Want to make a guess? I'll give you a clue. It starts with H and ends in Halo. You got it. It's number 4 and it's here. This is the review.
Hey gamers, Fraggy here, and no points for guessing what's on the menu today, because in today's Game and Review, we dive headfirst into one of the most anticipated console shooters of this holiday season. This is Halo 4. A serious contender for Blockbuster Video Game of the Year, Part 4 in the series puts you back in the shiny green Mjolnir armor of the Master Chief as he begins an all-new saga in the franchise. Now, interestingly, while the first 3 games and its offshoots have achieved almost legendary status in the world of console shooters, Halo 4 is being developed by an all-new team. The franchise is passing from the hands of creators Bungie to an in-house Microsoft team known as 343 Industries. Promising a darker, more personal experience, the story in Halo 4 centers on the relationship between our faceless hero and the woman that he carries around in his head,
Cortana,
an artificial intelligence companion known as Cortana.
Before this is all over, promise me you'll figure out which one of us is the machine.
Set nearly 5 years after Halo 3, the game begins aboard the wreck of a ship known as Forward Unto Dawn, as an intrusion wakes old Chiefy up from a deep cryo sleep. And amidst all the chaos, your AI gal pal Cortana is slowly dying. The only way to fix her, it seems, is to somehow make it back to Earth.
I won't recover from rampancy, Chief.
if we can just get back to Earth and find Halsey, she can fix this.
Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep.
So, lots to digest as far as story goes, but apart from the change in tone, what other additions can we expect from this all-new outing? Well, my fellow Spartans, time to suit up in our exclusive first look at Halo 4.
Cortana, what is it?
We are Forerunners, guardians of all that exists. Humanity stands as the greatest threat in the galaxy. The Forerunners have returned.
Okay, so it's been a long wait, but running through the campaign, the first thing that I noticed, having played all these games since the original, was just how much they managed to improve the quality of the graphics. Halo 4 is officially the most expensive game ever produced by Microsoft, and yep, it shows. Built with an all-new game engine, which does wonders for the lighting, everything from the way sunlight glints through a forest canopy, down to sections where you're navigating through ash and smoke, are all beautifully rendered, with little or no slowdown. Hell, even the pre-rendered cutscenes which help deliver the story are nothing short of amazing. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, I'm happy to report that despite the change in developers, Halo 4 still manages to deliver a tightly focused campaign filled with all the action that you remember from the past.
So now can we worry about the giant metal planet?
Set on a planet called Requiem, the game sees the return of the Covenant. But along with a fresh setting, we've also got a new race of enemies, the Prometheans. Now these guys are tough. From robotic dog-like creatures who chase you around with machine guns, down to Promethean knights with their ability to invoke shields and revive their fallen comrades. Add in new Forerunner weapons like the light rifle, which fires beams of, well, light, down to futuristic takes on the shotgun to send those shiny ladybugs to buckshot hell. And the firefights in Halo 4 really start to come into their own, especially on higher difficulties where battlefield tactics really come into play. And finally, if you're used to seeing the Master Chief as a one-dimensional war machine, well, Halo 4 is the most story-driven entry in the series, as bit by bit you struggle to rescue Cortana from her impending fate.
If we have a shot at getting you back to Infinity, we're taking it.
Now, it's not War and Peace, but the change this time to a more personal story really adds motivation as to why you're doing this all in the first place, especially if you're not the kind of gamer who bothers with the overarching story of the entire franchise, which, to be honest, can get a little convoluted.
I thought you'd be taller.
Now, honestly, all my gripes with Halo 4 come off as pretty minor, but most have to do with changes that they made to the audio. You see, while I did like some of the tweaks, like new field recordings of real machine guns to get them to sound just right, some of the classic sounds, like the Warthog, are pretty messed up, with an all-terrain vehicle sounding like it's running on an outboard motor. In addition, while I did like the overall soundtrack, the change in composer means that you won't hear any of the Gregorian chanting that has for so long been part of the Halo audio landscape. Yep, even the iconic Halo theme music is nowhere to be found, which made Fraggy kinda sad. You know what, I'm actually getting close to the end of my time on this week's review, and so far we haven't even touched on the stellar multiplayer component, of which I'm taking my time. But it seems like 343 Industries have done what few have expected them to do: create a Halo which rivals and in many ways surpasses what's come before. It's hands down the prettiest bell at the Halo ball, and despite not having reinvented the wheel, shows us that at least for now the adventures of old Chiefy will continue in really good hands.
This is Pelican 595. We have the Chief on board and are outbound for Rally Point Alpha Sierra Foxtrot.
Talk about mind-blowing! Now come November 6th, half of this world will disappear into a giant spatial cavern, sucked in by their Xboxes and the lure of Master Chief. Looks like you better start booking some leave from work, or maybe you're going to suddenly get a bout of unexplainable stomach flu? Well, who knows? Okay, well, this is one of the few times I'm going to allow you to take a toilet break, but there are plenty of reasons to make sure you are back in 2. Including a sneak peek inside God of War Ascension and a glimpse at games that you can get carried away with inside the comfort of your browser. That's up next on Game. And welcome back to Game. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, as promised, there's plenty more to come, but first, a look at some games that you can get your mitts on. From the comfort of your mousepad and keyboard, these ones will definitely keep you clicking for a long time to come, as we bring you to digital heaven.
Up first in our look at the week's best online freebies. Time to check in with one of our favorite indie game designers and a title called Don't Look Back. Coming to us from Terry Kavanagh, a man who's got a knack for combining his love for storytelling and retro chic. This game puts you in the shoes of a man who descends into the underworld to bring back his one true love. Now in line with its title, the aim of the game is to not look back once you've managed to locate the spirit of your lover. Do so and she vanishes into a puff of smoke. A simple linear platformer which tells a deep and wonderfully haunting story with a steep difficulty curve to match. Encounter all sorts of enemies from snakes and spiders, even down to projectile shooting giants. Definitely one of the more unique games that we've tried in a while. Don't Look Back is available at the address below and also on mobiles for both Android and Apple iOS devices. Next up, we take a look at the latest in a popular line of zombie action strategy games. This is Infectinator 2. Built around the mechanic of causing chain reactions, put on the lab coat of an evil scientist out to turn humanity into a race of mindless zombies. Now in this game of excitement via E. coli, players spread the infection to the people of the world, one continent at a time. coming to us with a great sense of humor about it. Look out for screaming housewives in China, as well as a couple of appearances by some tribute zombies from other bloodletting classics like Doom and Left 4 Dead. What's more, you can also earn coins for completing levels. Coins which you can then use for toughening up your zombie troop, or maybe some much needed supplies. So, if you'd like to try your hand at a little world domination, Infectinator 2 is out now at the link below. And to end our look at the best on the World Wide Web, we check in with an ingenious indie horror game with a rather simple premise. In Slender, the only aim is to collect 8 pages, notes scattered around a thick, dark forest. Sounds simple, right? Until you realize that lurking amongst the trees lies a monster known as the Slender Man, a wafer-thin man able to induce fear into his victims, ensnaring them with his long arms. Now, we've reviewed our share of blood-curdling horror games on this show, but being stalked by an 8-foot-tall ghost is right up there in our list of freakouts. With a game mechanic which makes it harder to run from the Slender Man the more pages you collect, just make it through the forest in one piece. Get too close, and it's the end of the line. With a chilling atmosphere to accompany some great minimalist design, if you think you've got the cojones, the Slender Man is waiting just for you at the link below.
No, guys, is it over? Okay, seriously? Not playing that game. You can ask the guys on the game team. I sat there, and even before I saw the Slender Man, I freaked out. Didn't help that the guys actually switched off the lights. Hey, turn it back on, guys. Back on. Anyway, so they turned off the lights and turned up the volume, and nah, too scary. Anyway, moving along to a game that, whilst may not fulfill my criteria of rainbows and cupcakes, it's still pretty impressive. God of War Ascension will be coming to a PlayStation near you and is a prequel for the God of War franchise. Now, with the game launched just round the corner, let's check in with the game devs to see what's cooking in this latest installment as we go inside God of War Ascension.
We've got something unique on our hands. Nobody else has our combat system, yet alone the ability to do scale.
The big reveal is like, hey, you know, this is what Sony Santa Monica's working on, and we're doing something a little bit different. Normally we do single player. We're gonna actually wind up teasing the players by actually showing a multiplayer instead.
Hey, Jess.
Yeah?
We gotta get shadows underneath the ropes.
As soon as we announce the title, people are going to be expecting something big. I think with this, though, I was just so harried to give them something. I didn't worry about it so much. So now I'm worrying about it in the aftermath. You know, he's done, he's in the game, and I'm like, ah.
As one of the artists, I always want the press or the public to go, wow, those graphics are awesome.
We've got a Titan in a level with 8 players, and hopefully people are looking at this going, this is awesome. They took God of War and they translated it to multiplayer, and this is their idea for what they're going to do in multiplayer.
So we start with a half-face shot, but he's really in shadow. And then the guy steps into the light, puts on his helmet, and it's clearly not Kratos. So we start by unfolding, hey, you're playing somebody you're not used to playing in this God of War prequel. And then as you're fighting Cyclops, second guy jumps in. Wait a second, it's a co-op game. There's 2 players. And then when you go into the main arena, that's when we reveal that there's actually 8 guys fighting because there's already 6 guys waiting in the arena for you. That was important to us to be able to let people kind of slowly reveal that there was going to be more than just one person.
Excellent run through, guys. Excellent run through.
Sharing the love with the new multiplayer function, definitely a big plus, and it'll be great to see the new combat and weapon system in play come March 12th next year. Awesome. And on that unbelievable high, we're going to take a short break, but you're not going to want to miss this. It's time for us to say farewell to an old friend. It's a glamorous gaming send-off, so stick around. Welcome back to Game. Now, as we draw this episode to a close, it's also time for the curtain to be brought down on a very old and dear friend. For 12 years, we've been entertained, amused, and exhilarated by this piece of revolutionary technology. Alas, Sony has decided that all good things must come to an end, and we will soon be saying goodbye to the PlayStation 2. So this is our way of saying thank you and so long to a gaming classic.
After 12 glorious years, the best-selling console of all time is about to draw its final breath. Have a PS2? Well, congratulations. You're one of over 150 million gamers around the world who've picked up the unit since its launch way back in 2000. With the system's final titles already announced, what better way to send off our beloved Black Brick into the digital unknown than with a list of top titles? Some you may remember, and some which could surprise you. As we kick things off with a little Norse mythology, courtesy of Odin's Sphere. Set in the world of Irion, the story centers around an invasion by the Demon King Odin to gain control of a legendary artifact called the Crystallizing Cauldron. With hand-drawn models and environments that have been called everything from hypnotic to breathtaking, unleash your arsenal of elemental abilities. What's more, with top-quality animation and some amazing voice acting, Odin's Sphere managed to deliver one of the most emotional stories in the world of action fantasy, and kicks off the list at number 5. Next up, Cyberspace, as we take a look at a truly unique title, which introduced gamers to the concept of synesthesia, the audio-visual masterpiece known as Rez. Developed by Tetsuya Mitsuguchi, a game designer with more than a passing interest in emerging electronic tunes, Rez was a shooter in which you controlled the music depending on how you played, effectively allowing gamers to create their own unique soundtracks as they played the game. Featuring the works of electronic music luminaries such as Adam Freeland and Ken Ishii, this really was a title unlike any before it, with each beat composed on the fly. Dance music heaven, touch the lasers, baby! Moving up in our list of must-plays, a sleeper hit from the mosh pit of Japanese wackiness. Say hello to Katamari Damacy! Now, this crazy game had you in the shoes of a pint-sized prince on a mission to rebuild the universe. And to do this, your task at hand is to basically roll around a sticky ball called a katamari across various locations, picking up everything in sight. Starting from small household objects, things quickly snowball until no one is safe from your rolling monstrosity. In addition, the game also comes with one of the top soundtracks for a video game. Tunes which will have you snapping your fingers as you watch the world burn. Ah. Next up in our farewell list of PS2 must-plays, imagine an action-adventure with no towns. No towns! Yep, there are no dungeons to explore either. In fact, our next game comes with no other characters to even interact with. It's just one boss fight after another. Sounds impossible? Well, Shadow of the Colossus is that game. Focusing on a young man named Wanda in the hunt for 16 massive beings or colossi, this game had you riding horseback across a beautiful minimalist landscape to fight some of the most imaginative bosses ever created in the world of video games. Critically acclaimed for both its amazing setting as well as its overall quality, and boasting numerous awards for audio as well as design, Shadow of the Colossus will suck you in and not let you go until its final shocking end. And finally, to round up our list of must-plays, a title which just drips style. The 6th entry in the open-world Grand Theft Auto franchise, this is Vice City. Set in the 80s against a backdrop of sex and suntan lotion, this game puts you in the shoes of mafia hitman Tommy Vercetti as we follow his anthemic rise to the top of the crime game. With a soundtrack packed with some of the biggest pop hits of the day, all used to wonderfully sinful effect, it's glamour, power, and corruption, and the top game of our PS2 gaming send-off.
Let me tell you a story. The other night, I was in a nightclub. As usual, I, Fernando, was surrounded by beautiful women. I could have made love to any number of them. Then, this really ugly girl come in, all fat and hairy and ugly and stuff, like a big fat cow, all walking on 2 legs, you know? But she had the most beautiful eyes I ever saw.
Now, we all know that the PS2 was a great console, but let's not be sad to say farewell, be happy, as the path is now paved for bigger and better consoles of the future. Alright, that's all we've got for you this week, but remember to join us again next week for more of your favorite gaming show. And if you need your fix before then, you can check out our website, espnstar.com/game. Or if you've got a list of your own PS2 games, then tell us at facebook.com/ESSGame. Or you can even tweet us your memories at ESSGame. Till next week, guys, we'll see you then. Bye-bye.